fact. But it seems to me that in the British Medical Journal, we have an example of bad behavior by the editors. And it seems to me that what you've shown is that looking across the broad spectrum of the institutions, of the press, and science about this issue, that as you've said, very sad situation where most people are not supporting truth and beauty in science. I want to know how many people were there who supported you in an honest and independent-minded way through these many years of travail for you? And why didn't the attack of Brian manage to get turned around?
Right. How many people have stood by me through the last 20 years, and how do we turn the situation around, particularly the attack from Brian Deere and others? Very few, sadly. I mean, just to give you some examples. When I first got involved in this, my colleagues, pediatric gastroenterologists, who, albeit that they investigated these children and identified inflammatory bowel disease in the children with autism who'd regressed, they said to me, they took me aside and said, Andy, we cannot be seen as pediatricians to question the safety of MMR vaccine. That made no sense to me at all. That wasn't a scientific standpoint, or it most certainly wasn't a medical standpoint that put their patients before other considerations. It was vanity. It was about my status, how my colleagues will perceive me if I am seen by them to question the safety of this vaccine. And that was unthinkable. It's like saying we can't question the safety of thalidomide because it's effective against morning sickness, and yet children are born with no arms or legs, ears, etc. So that made no sense to me whatsoever. Very few people have actually stood by this. Some of them are sitting up here. My family have been absolutely wonderful, but it's not an issue. I don't care, you see, what they say about me. I don't care at all. This is not about me. They want to make it about me so that it creates this public perception of this child-eating monster, but it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about something far, far more important. So when I feel sorry for myself, then I see the next child with autism and I think, I don't have a problem. I've got 4 healthy children. I don't have a problem. This child has a problem. Get over yourself and get on with it. So it's thank you. How do we deal with the Sunday Times and Brian Deere? You may not know that James Murdoch, Rupert Murdoch's son, was on the board of GlaxoSmithKline, the MMR vaccine manufacturer, as a non-executive director, and he was in charge of protecting that industry's name in the media. And that's what he did, and I was his first target. Brian Deere, interestingly, has not worked as a journalist since the BMJ published his papers. I've never seen Brian Deere publish again as a journalist in the Sunday Times or anywhere else. I may be wrong, but I've completely missed it. So who is Brian Deere? Who is he? He's an attack dog for the industry. How do we defeat people like that? From my personal experience, you just have to stay in the game. You have to stay true to what you believe in, what you see, the mother's instinct in reporting what happened to their children, the physical evidence that you see, and stay true to that. Don't be put off by what are lies. It's very easy to give up your hypothesis too soon because of the pressure that is put on you. And that doesn't make me particularly brave or clever. I'm actually more frightened of the mothers of autistic children than the CDC. But you have to stay true to your belief. And I hope that for junior doctors now, what this episode will bring back hope is the fundamental rule of clinical medicine. And that is the patient and the parent's story about what happened to their child, and putting the patient before any other consideration. That's what medicine is about.
First, do no harm. Philip, what are you time, Hugh?
Got about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
This guy's been trying right there. Yeah.
Hi,
You guys can sit on the
James
microphone.
Brumvik. I'm in the game. I got a book coming out on Paul Thorson on Tuesday from Skyhorse called Master Manipulators. It's all about manipulators. James studies. Besides that, for Andy and for Dell, censorship besides Bobby De Niro. What happened in Houston and